a sweat.
Yeah.
Sit in a hot tub.
Yeah.
Will you leave a wet?
Yeah.
Well.
I keep waiting for the morning we come in and running the board today, the Wildcat.
Hey, don't give me any ideas. I have connections here. I can get that done. I figured out why Coach is up north in Gatlinburg and stuff like that. Monday was Dolly Parton's birthday.
Oh, happy
he was
birthday,
invited
Dolly.
to the party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And didn't tell us nothing about it.
I bet he's going to make a album.
She's 80 years old. Yeah, we're going to do the new greatest hits, Coach Hale. And have Dolly doing a little backup.
You don't have to go up there to see Dolly anymore. You go see her with the Pirates.
That's true.
Down the street there.
True.
But
true.
now Coach Hale is away again. He's up there in the mountains. He'll be coming back here, probably racing ahead of this winter snowpocalypse that's going through. I had friends in Memphis call me yesterday, said they are projecting 12 to 16 inches of snow in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yesterday I went out there and measured the sunlight. It was 8 inches and growing, so that was great. So I sent that picture to my buddies. We doing this. Oh man, they were hot. Boy.
Well, yeah, as everyone, of course, knows, that voice is the voice of Dr. Eugene Glenn Manley.
Doctor left out.
Exactly.
So listen, today is I want to go ahead and start. I'm wearing my George Mulligan Wrestling Tournament shirt. So it starts Friday. It's the 7th annual George Mulligan Wrestling Tournament at the Cobb Gym at Bay High School. And it's also the 50th year of Bay High Wrestling. And then Coach Mulligan started it. Mm-hmm. And he was All-American himself. And he is the father of wrestling in Bay County.
Okay.
So he did a lot of things. So it starts on Friday. The weigh-ins are at 11. And then it'll start wrestling after that. And it goes all the way to the quarterfinals on Friday. And then Saturday, the weigh-ins are at 7:30, and it goes all the way to the finish. And I'm telling you what, it's a great tournament. There'll be 32 teams in there. There'll be 6 from Georgia, 2 from Alabama, 30 from Florida, and the winning Fort Pierce Central is coming back. They were the winners of the tournament last year. And if you're a coach, great hospitality room. Let me tell you what, one of the finest ever. And I always told Coach Dean and them, they all need to go in the cleaning service because they come in and they take a picture of everything before they set the thing up. And then they clean the whole place up. Man, it's fantastic. So we ought to have the Bay High Wrestling cleanup service.
Well, that's how you endear yourself to the AD and to the locals.
Oh, absolutely. I said, yeah, you guys do it. So, but anything. And then also, if you want me to get into something else, we got a caller.
Yeah, let's go to the phones real quick, and then we're going to finish up, certainly, because I know there's a lot locally going on.
Right.
But yeah, let's talk to him here. Let's get the sponsored Nashville update here.
There you go.
Mike, what's up, buddy?
10 pulgadas nieves. You know what that means?
I think I heard new.
No, nieves. It means 10 inches of snow.
Oh, good Lord, yes. That's what I was just talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, they've already moved up the Creekwood West Creek ball game, Fairview ball game.
Somebody on Facebook was putting like 20 and 21 inches, and I saw that. And that was crazy, so I did a little research and watched the local weather reports up in southeastern Kentucky, which is kind of the center of all this, and they're only talking 4 or 4.5 inches of snow.
Yeah,
I remember.
Is the center of the world.
I remember, Mikey, when I first moved to Nashville. This is 2002. That winter, our first snow of that year was like 8 inches of snow. And, I mean, it shut down everything. I lived just on the other side of Vanderbilt, and it took me an hour and a half just to get to Centennial Park, which is a mile away. So it was brutal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, you were skiing, right?
I should have just walked. I'd have been there faster.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to tell you something. 43 years ago, on the 18th, it snowed. 65 years ago, around this date, it snowed big. And, of course, Glenn, when was the blizzard of 51? It's in 1951.
I was still pooping in my diaper.
Yeah, well, I was too back on one of those I talked about, but it wasn't the one 43 years ago.
Was that last year that we had that 4.5 inches of snow here? Was that last year?
Yeah, but I swear I thought you were asking Glenn, was that last year you were pooping in your diaper?
No, that's this year.
It could have been yesterday. And I'm still working on the VA sending me free diapers. I went back to some low-dose aspirin yesterday.
Listen, I got you all fooled. I got the pins. So
there you go. There you go.
Well, that's what I'm wearing right now. I'm not joking. But it's really because I've already had two 16-inch Miller High Lifes. 16-inch, 16
Nice.
But I let me give you some jokes, okay?
All right.
Just to brighten things up in a cold winter. All right. And I stole this one off 102.5 or somewhat buddy up there. So what do you call it when the Edmonton Oilers play the Nashville Predators?
Ooh.
Oilers, Predators, get it? The P. Diddy Bowl.
Okay. Like
now when the Predators play the Islanders, what's it called?
That's the Epstein Bowl.
Well, it could be, but it's called the Chuck and Donald rub sunscreen on themselves out at Fire Island in 1981, whatever. You know, Schumer was when I lived in New York, Schumer was my representative. And the Donald was divorcing Ivana, not Ivanka, that's his daughter, but Ivana. And, they might have been seen together out at Fire Island. Donald used to fly his helicopter out there, and Chuck used to have some boy that worked in his office driving out there. Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, that's ugly. But it's not funny. But I want to talk to you about why Tennessee football fans love our basketball team, which plays at Alabama Saturday, if they can get there. Mm-hmm. It's because it's the one athletic group on campus that actually tackles well. By the way, Vandy went 16-0, and now they're 0-3. How about that, Glenn?
Man, I tell you what, I know they've taken the gas, haven't they?
Well, they're too short.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's one thing. They went up. Man, have you seen the Lithuanian at Texas? 7 foot 2 inches.
Well, how about the guy in Florida, 7'9"?
Yeah, he's not a player like the Lithuanian is.
Yeah,
Florida, that's the thing about Vandy. They're too short. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about Tennessee. They're just if Tennessee could play where there weren't referees in the building,
yeah,
they might win.
We need to bring if you dig up Ray Myers and bring him back.
I know you mean Ray Mears.
Myers, Mears. We used to throw oranges at him, so it didn't matter.
Well, I'll tell you about Ray Mears. He invented an offensive efficiency rating. You ever heard that? That's where you rate how well you do every time you bring it down. But he also invented 19 to 15 ball games. He could not coach right now. He could coach like Alpha if he were alive, the girls. But he could not coach in a shot clock game right now. Anyway, y'all enjoy your weather. I'm going to enjoy mine. I've got a 16-pack of Miller High Life. No, wait, 24. I'm ready. I went to buy bread, and are you there?
Yeah, we're there. We're listening.
All right, I went to buy bread, and what else do you buy when it's snowing? Everybody buys bread and milk. Well, they were all sold out, so my girlfriend got me a suitcase of Miller High Life and some, whatever.
When you talk
anyway,
24, I think it's ponies.
No, these are 12-ounce ones.
There you go.
We're coming back from church. Well, no, I was coming back from the VA yesterday. And she goes, "You've got 4 tall boys." I'm like, "Not enough."
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. But I will say this. I'm in a bar in Nashville. Well, let me call it a restaurant because they would be offended. Highway 100 Brew House. Anyway, go there if you can.
I've been there.
And, I ran into the brother. I'm talking to this guy, and I go, I said, there's a town in West Tennessee. It's got your name. He goes, yeah, I drive through it every time I go to Martin. I said, well, what do you go to Martin for? He goes, oh, my sister's married to Coach Simpson's manager. So I'm thinking like, okay. And then I'm talking to a guy. You'll like this, Glenn. I'm talking to this guy from Hillwood, and he played on a team that had lost. They had lost every game for 3 years, and then in 1969, NBA was on a 3-year winning streak, and his team upset them. That was in between Peoples and Fisher, and the NBA was, I don't know, they were trying to get it together. But, the Peoples, the brothers, and the husbands.
Yeah. Well, they used to have Manley Mixon was the quarterback one year at Hillwood.
That's what this guy mentioned his name. And Barbaro and Runyon. But I don't want to get too provincial, but I want to say one thing about your Coach Varallo. When he used to see me out at McCabe, he didn't hang out at Shelby. He came out to McCabe because he didn't want to be bothered. He'd always ask me, hey, man, where's your dad? I'm like, I knew that meant my dad owed him money because he knew my dad was playing cards with Coach Chaparro in the back of the locker room. You know, Chaparro, there was no anti-Semitism in Nashville. Chaparro, Glenn, this is before your time. It's actually Shapiro.
Yeah. Yep.
But he was a great coach at West High, and I've been around him many times. And of course, I love Coach Borello too. You know,
Yep.
and it's just the good old days. I'm reminiscing too much. I'm ruminating. But let's get out and let's talk about Alabama. Oh, Auburn won last night. You know, it's great news today. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
See you, Mikey.
All right. So, yeah, good night, Sonny. That's what Coach Farrell used to always call it. Call the boys Sonny and the girls Honey.
I love how he said that. I actually coached a chaperone in Nashville. It wasn't Shapiro, it was chaperone. All right, Glenn, what else we got
Here we
going on
go.
locally?
In boys soccer last night, it was Leon 1. This is 5A District 2. Leon 1, Mosley 0. And also in the 4A District 1, it was Bay 4, Godby 0. It was West Florida 3 and Rickards 2. They had to drive all the way over to West Florida for that.
Gracious.
And then tonight in the 3A District 1, it would be Pensacola is at Pensacola Catholic, and Bozeman's at Destin, and Walton is at Freeport, and in 3A District 2, it is Gadsden at Rutherford Rams tonight, so good luck with the Rams.
Yeah.
In girls soccer last night, 3A District 1, it was Freeport 7, and my dentures almost fell out. Freeport 7 and Bozeman 0, and it was Walton 3, Destin 1. And so then the Rams ladies play tonight. They will host Gadsden also, and then the girls in District 4A1, it would be Bay host Rickards, and then 5A, it'd be Lincoln at Arnold. So we'll see what goes on with that. The girls soccer 3, Lincoln 1, Arnold 3, Lincoln 1. The boys play tomorrow night, so they have a bye. So boys Arnold play. So anyway,
chasing that three-peat.
I got basketball.
Let's go. Let's go.
Boys basketball last night. Rutherford 79, Bozeman 35.
Wow.
Mosley 54, Charles 33. It was Ponce de Leon 58, Sneeds 40, Liberty County 58, Weewa 42. Chipley 68, Bethlehem 61. That was actually Monday night. And it was Holmes County 71, Vernon 28, South Walton 45, Bay 39. That was Monday night. And then last night, it was Milton Central, beat Graceville 63-60. And if you need girls scores, I got those too.
Let's go.
All right. It was Destin girls 42, Arnold 22, and it was Choctaw 46, Bay girls 30. It was Mosley 73, Walton girls 34. It was Liberty County 56, Weewa girls 26. It was J Royals 54 and Chipley girls 42, and it was Graceville girls 44, Cottondale 32. And last night, Lunchtown went over to Holmes County girls, and they won 51-37. And that's all I got right now.
Great. There's a lot going on this time of year.
Yes, and if you're an athletic director, buddy, you are busy in a one-arm paper hanger.
That's when people call you and they want to say something, you just go, yeah, whatever. I got too much going on right now. Well, thank you, Glenn. Obviously, I love when the mulligan comes up every year because that's such a great thing and such a tradition down here now. And I loved your comment about making sure it was clean because that is a big deal. And yeah, I can tell you, having run events, we remember the people who take care of their areas, and they get preferential treatment. You like to say there isn't any? There is.
I tell you what, too. One of the things that when I first did it, when you don't want anybody in the red.
Yeah.
And the wrestling team, they would start out because they would be doing all these things to get set up for this tournament, and they would go, "What do you keep?" I said, "Let me tell you what they're going to make in this tournament." I said, "Don't worry about all that. They'll be black when it gets through."
Oh gosh, yeah.
Because I tell you what, they do such a fantastic job. I guess it goes from Coach Mulligan to Coach Shooter to Coach Lawson. Then it goes, I believe it goes Cliff Gore, and then it goes Mark Deaton and Zach Deaton. They're both working together. So I think I covered them all. But if I missed somebody, I apologize.
Yep.
So
there you go.
But anyway.
Well, let's talk about some of our sponsors here on the Coach James Hale Show this morning. How about J. Michael's Restaurant? Today's the day, Glenn.
Yes, sir.
When the... Oh, sorry. Everybody just drove off the road and I'll start singing. But it is Spaghetti Wednesday. Look, they've always got the best seafood. They've always got the coldest beer. But on Wednesday only, they get that kitchen rockin' Dino's back there making that spaghetti sauce, and they do world-famous J. Michael's spaghetti there.
Over to Lynn Haven, too, today.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Well, while you're out in Lynn Haven, as a matter of fact, Glenn, what you can make sure and do is make sure you're not spending Valentine's Day on the couch. And how do we do that, Big Bad John?
David Adamson Designer Jewelry. Go out there, get a free jewelry inspection, get a free jewelry cleaning. They'll do all of the ring sizing and bracelet sizing, necklace sizing, all that in-house right there. And of course, they have a very fine and new updated selection of fine, inexpensive jewelry at David Adamson Designer Jewelry, 830 Highway 77, Lynn Haven.
That's easy for you to say. Folks, when we come back, no more That's Amore. I'm going straight to Volare.
Yay.
If you really want to throw up this morning, I got your medicine. You're listening to Coach James Hale Show on ESPN Radio. Mike Memon coming up next.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Sports Blitz.
See, I'm more of an old school mentality. I believe in tradition. I believe in loyalty to a program, to a system, to an organization. Everybody's a flash in the pan, microwave type society now and everything, and they want overnight success.
The Sports Blitz.
Live and local, weekdays, 4 to 6.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. Mostly cloudy this afternoon and evening with a wind at 9 miles per hour coming out of the southeast and a high of 63. Tonight, look for clouds with a temperature near 52. Tomorrow, a high around 69 and some sun. Friday, quite warm with a high of 67 and some clouds in the early morning, but otherwise light sprinkles. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Discover your next adventure at Bill Bird Kia, where the road is yours. Start the new year in a brand new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. And don't miss this limited time offer on the purchase of a stunning new 2025 Kia K4 with sporty style, spirited performance, and 2.9% APR for up to 48 months. Thinking about the iconic Kia Soul? The 2025 model delivers its unmistakable silhouette and massive cargo space. It's the last of its kind. Purchase a new 2025 Kia Soul and get 3.9% APR for up to 60 months. But hurry before it's all gone. You get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Bird Kia, the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us today at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia K4 with $2209 per month per 1,000 financed in 48 months, or a new 2025 Kia Soul with $1837 per month per 1,000 financed in 60 months. Quantities are limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. New vehicles only. Not available on balloon finance. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers must take delivery from dealer stock through 2226.
The Coach James Hale Show is live and local from the J. Michael Studio.
They got something that money couldn't buy.
I was noticing when you come down the stairs that you've got pretty legs.
All right, I'll tell you a story without a happy ending. Y'all following this?
ESPN Northwest Florida.
I'd like to file an HR complaint. We're getting yelled at during the break by some old man in another room. Good Lord.
That's why I'm in the other room.
To be fair, he's yelling at everything. Monitors and microphones.
Don't touch the mic. Don't touch the mic.
How many wires in the radio station?
We're having too much fun today on a Wednesday. Brian Haddad sitting in for Coach Hale. Glenn Manley in here in the Wildcat. And as we do every single Wednesday morning during this time of year, we're going to talk to Coach Memon there, Bay High Tornadoes basketball. Coach, how we doing this morning?
Good, guys. How are you?
We're doing pretty good.
Doing well. A little warmer, but not much.
Yeah, we're not responsible for anything we tell you today because it's kind of wild in here.
Sorry, I don't put much stock into what you tell me.
Hey, there you go.
He never did.
That's why he's a smart
That's right.
man.
That's right. Intelligent. So,
Yep.
So he hooked up with me when I had COVID. His wife was my nurse because she worked at a hospital over there.
Okay.
And so
Well,
they took care of me. So.
Well, Coach, kind of bring us up to speed on the last week since we talked to you talked to you last time and what's going on with Bay High basketball.
Sure. We're struggling a little bit right now. Going through that stretch of the season where we're playing some really tough opponents. Last week it was the first time all year we went 0-3 for the week. We all three teams we played were ranked higher than us, and we just couldn't find a way to get it done. So right now it's about just trying to come in and grind and mentally get ready for what's ahead. Still sitting in the playoff race. Really hurt our chances and probably fell a little bit further than we liked, but now we're sitting 3 in the district, so we're going to have to go on the road. And, with 2 weeks left, we've got Rutherford Friday, Fort Walton Saturday, and then Bluntstown the following Friday, and that'll finish out our season. But we've kind of got to get ready for those. We've got to play with a little more confidence, play with a little more energy and excitement. If we do that, we're just as good as anybody in our region. It's just getting the guys to find that juice right now.
While no coach ever likes to lose, and you don't want to put yourself in a situation where it's harder to, get into the postseason, do you kind of see, a little run like that as an opportunity to get, the guys maybe to refocus, to kind of, realize there's now a sense of urgency? I mean, you can say it all you want, but sometimes it kind of takes a loss or an action like that to really get the kids to focus in.
Yeah, I think so. We last week we kind of showed some potential in the sense we didn't show up against Mosley. We just didn't play our best basketball for whatever reason. You can put that on myself for not having the team prepared or whatnot. But they responded Saturday. We played Godby over in Tallahassee. Godby's our second-ranked team in the region, and we played them to a 2-possession game and wound up losing by 8. But it was one of those things where the kids showed they had the potential and they had the talent to do so. It's just, they have to understand that you've got to be able to play every single day. You got to be able to practice every single day, and you can't just turn it on and off. I think that's the biggest thing with young people. They don't have that sense of urgency. They think okay, we got time where time's running out.
Yeah. You go to Rutherford, and do you go to Fort Walton Beach also?
Yeah. So we go to Fort Walton on Saturday. But Friday night against Rutherford is actually at Gulf Coast State College.
Oh, okay. So, because the wrestling tournament's going on, that's why I thought you might be. But yeah, that's a nice place to play.
Yeah,
I remember. Yeah, they were nice enough to kind of open up their doors and let us play there. So yeah, we're excited about playing in their venue. So.
I remember when you were coaching at Mosley, we played the district tournament there, and the guy hit the half-court shot to win for you guys.
Yeah. That was the last time I played in that gym and coached in that gym, so maybe that'll be some good luck. Yeah, that was a hurricane year where Carlos Dominguez, we played Bay my first year over at Mosley. What a game. It went to double overtime.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And I felt like the whole city was there. It was that hurricane year where people were just looking for an outlet and things like that, and that place was packed. And yeah, we won it on a half-court shot. That was a great game.
So you guys are getting ready. Have you changed practice a little bit with this 2-game coming up? I know I asked you this before, but you know Rutherford probably better than Fort Walton Beach.
Yeah, Fort Walton. It's fine. I probably know Fort Walton a little bit better, just because when I was at Choctaw, that's our rival, and that's one of those things where and when you live in Fort Walton. there's a line that you don't see down the town. It's Fort Walton side of the town and then Choctaw. So you're taught not even to go to the grocery store on the other side of town. So I know those guys pretty well. But yeah, like this time of year, we're in and out. It's about getting reps. It's we're not. We might add a little wrinkle here or two, but for the most part, we're down to an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes of practice, trying to keep you guys fresh, especially when you're playing 3 games a week. I think that really hurt us last week too. We lost Monday to South Walton over there as well, and I think our guys were tired. Call it bad scheduling, call it whatever, but we played Friday, Saturday, Monday, and you try to give them a day off, like we gave them off yesterday. You try to give them a day off, but you can't take too many days off. But sometimes, as the season goes, your guys just get used to having those back-to-back days off, and then when they can't have them, your body, it's just different for them. So, especially when you get back after the holidays, because they're still getting in sleep mode in school and things like that, and that takes a week or two to get adjusted. And then, at the same time, they're kids, so who knows what they're doing, who knows what time they're going to bed, and unless they have, great discipline, they got to control themselves and take care of their bodies. So.
Yeah, you never know what they're eating, drinking, and all that stuff. Yeah.
So, especially when I have 9 seniors. It's seniors sometimes have a different priority list when they get to be seniors. They have things like cars and jobs and girlfriends, and those things sometimes take precedent over basketball, and you don't like that. But
surely.
At the same time,
well, you're not competing with the girlfriends. You get,
you're gonna lose that one.
You're losing that one. I can tell you that as a football coach. Never mind.
No doubt.
Coach, it's funny. We spend so much time during the fall, talking football and everything like that. And one of the things that we always do every week when we're talking is we're really hyping up. Guys, it's such a great mode of entertainment. Get out to these high school football games, because we keep seeing kind of attendance erode, it seems like. And I don't remember if it was Glenn or maybe Jason Kovaleski showed me a picture of one of y'all's home basketball games.
I showed.
Oh my God! There are probably more people there than at a football game. Yeah. Is that something y'all have kind of actively worked on with the community, or do you just have a good, or do you just have kind of a good excitement around it, and people just want to come out and watch the games?
It's a little bit of both. I think what we try to do is you try to make it a good experience when people come to games. You don't want it just to be a basketball game. You want them to be able to come in. You want to be able to, have good music. You want to be able to have a nice, clean gym so people feel like it's a good experience when they come and they want to come back. And then you got to put a good product on the floor. Like they don't want to watch teams, that don't share the ball and don't play hard and stall and things like that. They want to watch teams that play the right way, and fans are not naive to that. So, I think that's a mix of things. And then I think our student section has been great all year. I want to give a shout out to all those football and baseball guys. Like, they've been great to come into games, and I think the more they come, more people want to come. And another thing is too, like, it's the Panhandle. We've got some really good teams this year, and I think they've built some followings. Like, when we had Mosley here and St. Joe here, like those. I mean, our gym was. Man, it took 3-4 hours to clean it after. Like, it was incredible. So, for the most part, I think it's just us trying to get them out here. But I think it's also the product we're putting out there too.
Well, it's got to be great for the kids because nobody likes playing in front of an empty gym, and I mean they can feed off of that, and it can help, especially as you're trying to make this run to the playoffs. So what a great thing there for your kids and your players.
I tell you what, being a former official, I don't like to call when there's hardly anybody in there either, because when you blow the whistle, it echoes, and then if they whisper, you can hear it. So but I tell you, when it gets you kind of juiced up too when it's packed and everybody's excited. So you kind of clamp down more than you would when it if it's 48-1. It's like.
Well, it's probably bad if you're a coach too when it's quiet, because then they can hear what you're actually saying to the official.
That's when you face the crowd and you smile, but you go, "You're about the dumbest player I ever had." But you're smiling the whole time, and
oh goodness.
So, but well, Mike, you do a great job, and we really appreciate you coming back. I tell you what, a long time ago, I told you what I felt about you staying when we first went through all that, but. Congratulations to you, and everything's going well.
Yep.
And so keep it up.
And good luck, Coach, and we will talk to you again next Wednesday.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great week.
All right, Coach Mike Memon there, Bay High Tornadoes basketball.
When you're retired, you always have a great week. So, I mean, you know.
Yeah, I got a ways to go before I get that. And heck, I keep signing up for jobs I don't get paid for. I don't understand. I'm doing this backwards.
What's up with that?
I'm doing this backwards. Well, a lot of people say I'm paid exactly what I'm worth then, so that's what it is. But, yeah, always great to talk to Coach Memon. And get out. I'm serious. I mean, that was a cool environment. So get out there and watch that. You have a great time.
Like just to watch the kids and give you recognition. When they see you and they know who you are, it makes them feel a lot better. And when I was at AD, I felt like I had to be almost at everything. Yeah. Because when they see you there. So, but it's great.
Well, I'll tell you, another place you want to be seen is Dat Cajun Place. They have had a wonderful, wonderful season. Of course, they were doing the 10-cent wings and the $5 pitchers or 50-cent wings. Good Lord, don't get me in trouble. 50-cent wings, that's good enough. $5 pitchers there during football season. But look, I mean, you know the menu. You know the live entertainment they have in there and the great times, TVs everywhere. Get out to Dat Cajun Place today and tell them you heard about it right here. I think they got Jambalaya Wednesday going on, so you definitely want to be out there for that. Steve's Bike Shop there on 23rd Street across from Sam's. Been in business since 1979, Glenn. 1979, and they do a wonderful job. They got the old style bikes. They got the new electric bikes. They can work and fix your bikes. Every accessory you need. Get out and see my buddy Steve Burdishaw there at Steve's Bike Shop on 23rd Street. He's also the swim coach at Mosley High School. So while the kids are in the nice, warm, heated pool right now, he's freezing on the deck. So get out there and make fun of him for that. And then TK Vandy Roofing and Contracting. The Vandergrift family, everything they touch turns to gold, and there is no shortage of that with Kyle. Kyle is the best in the area with that. Make sure that you get your roof done correctly and ahead of time. Don't get one of those letters from the insurance company threatening to drop you. Make sure that you call the fine folks at TK Vandy Roofing and Contracting. There we go. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Dr. John Ward about the Florida Gators. Glenn is so happy. I just see it. But no, we love Doc Ward, and he's coming up next. You're listening to the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
The new app from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is designed specifically for sports fanatics like you. The sports content you demand is always on. Live stream our national and local sports talk anywhere you go. Reach us on all social media. You can also be a part of the show. Call and text into our studios. Plus, up-to-the-minute weather and traffic maps. The new app from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is available at the Apple Store and Google Play.
With over 4 decades in business, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to take your collection to the next level. All new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia and supplies, new and vintage cards and Pokemon. Buy, sell, and trade. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards inside the Stanford Station on 23rd Street next to Academy Sports. Come see the bigger store and the larger inventory or visit online, instantReplaySportsCards.com.
Are you living with chronic pain, anxiety, or sleepless nights? You don't have to just get by. You deserve to thrive. At Thrive Alternative Medicine on Panama City Beach Parkway, Dr. Laughlin and counselor Suzanne Clark provide a compassionate path to relief. From medical marijuana card certifications to professional mental health counseling, managing conditions like PTSD, chronic pain, and the complexities of cancer. Book online at thrivealternativemedicine.com. thrivealternativemedicine.com. Find the relief you deserve.
Looking for a new way to explore Bay County? Or maybe your trusty bike needs a tune-up? Head to Steve's Bike Shop. They've got a huge selection of new and used bicycles, plus the latest electric bikes to get you where you need to go fast. And if your bike is acting up, their expert technicians repair all makes and models, even electric bikes. Serving Bay County for 46 years. Steve's Bike Shop, 1924 West 23rd Street, right across from Sam's. Steve's Bike Shop. Your ride starts here.
If aliens showed up tomorrow and said, take us to your moon, you'd bring them to the Coach James Hale Show.
Danger, Bill Robinson, danger.
Live from the J. Michael Studio on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Oh, my goodness.
I've been drinking.
Somebody take Lynn's drink.
That's what has to be it.
Telling you. Welcome back to the Coach James Hale Show. Brian Haddad sitting in for Coach Hale, and I don't know who that is. He just yelled "Go Gators" here, but he looks a lot like Glenn Manning.
He ran in here and left. He just shot and took off.
I'll tell you who else loves. I'll tell you who else loves hearing that music is our guest here on the phone, as he is every Wednesday. I know everybody lines up listening to this. Dr. John Ward. Doc, how are we doing today?
Having a great morning. How about you guys?
Doing well. And, I wanted to start with something. I mean, it may be cold outside, and it is, but that sun's still a-shining, and it's still something we've got to, keep into account there. So, for anybody who wants to make sure they don't become a skin cancer statistic, Doc, how can they go about making sure that they protect themselves?
Well, this time of year, most people are pretty well protected with their clothing.
Yeah.
But if you're kind of crazy and you want to be out there in the cold weather, don't forget your sunscreen. But definitely, if you notice anything on your skin that's changing size, shape, color, bleeding for no reason, doesn't look right or feel right, don't wait. Get it checked out. If you catch it early, it's easy to treat. Give us a call at 233-3376. You can see us at one of our 8 area convenient locations, and all it takes is 5 minutes to get checked and make sure your skin is healthy and cancer-free.
Doc, playing golf, my left hand is always covered with a glove, but I had to have something taken off my right hand because it's always out in the open on your clubs. And over the years, because I was asking, I said, why did I get it here? He goes, well, do you wear a golf glove? And I go, yeah. And he goes, well, do you wear one on that hand? I go, no.
Makes sense.
I mean, just wherever it can hit, it gets you. So you got to be careful.
That's right.
All right, Doc, so let's start with this. Obviously, big football game. We had a good run through the playoffs. I mean, other than Indiana, Alabama, and maybe Indiana, Oregon, a lot of good football games through the playoffs, and then ended with a really enjoyable national championship game on Monday night, other than I think it goes too late. But your thoughts on the national championship game?
My thoughts, what a fantastic run by Indiana and Kirk Cignetti. I don't know. I think everyone in America, except for Hurricane fans, wanted Indiana to win. And then there could be no more fitting into Carson Beck's career than throwing a pick.
Oh, my God. One of the things, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, Doc, and I don't know if you felt the same way, but the evolution of people's attitudes toward Coach Cignetti, and maybe it's because now we've seen him more, but when we first saw him, maybe through last year, early this year, there was the prevailing attitude seemed to be kind of a jerk, a little overly arrogant for no reason. He had his "I win, Google me" speech and this, that, or the other. And then as you watch this team and as you kind of watched him, I think there was a lot more of a glaring appreciation for him. I mean, did you kind of feel that transition with him?
Yeah, I think college football fans are a little bit fed up, and I'll just throw this team out there with teams like Miami that just goes out, tries to find the best quarterback that they can pay with the most money and bring them in. They got Mendoza from Cal, but Mendoza, who knew who Mendoza was before the beginning of the season? Nobody knew him. So, I think what you saw is a team at the beginning of the season that was not the team they were at the end of the season. I mean, they had a few little close calls. I mean, they didn't blow out Old Dominion. They did do a good job going to Eugene and getting a close win. But man, I watched the Penn State game. I was like Penn State was left for dead, and now they're beating Indiana. But you just saw with Mendoza and his teammates that at some point in the season they developed a belief that they could do it, and then they did it. It's why we watch sports.
Yeah, right.
To see when a team that clearly isn't the highest paid team or the most 4 and 5 stars on the roster, and they go out and do this and have an undefeated season. I mean, it may, something like this may not happen again for 50 years.
Yeah, that's really well said, too. And, the interesting thing is, we went those years where, we always talk about SEC dominance, and a lot of people outside of there will think, oh, well, you're talking about Alabama winning so many in a row, but it wasn't that. It was that Auburn won, Florida won, Tennessee won, Alabama won, LSU won, Georgia won, you had multiple different teams. And from 19, 20, 21, you had 3 straight SEC national champions, 3 different teams. Well, guess what just happened? 23 Michigan, 24 Ohio State, 25 Indiana. Oregon's not that far out. I don't want to get into the SEC's dead, because I don't believe they are, but it's interesting, Doc, isn't it, that it's no longer just Ohio State, Michigan in the Big Ten. Now they're getting deeper as well, I think.
But Harbaugh and Ryan Day didn't do it. They did it somewhat using the SEC formula.
Sure.
Go out, get the best players, coach them well, and it's kind of the formula that everybody who's found success has done.
Yeah.
Signetti has done it with a completely different playbook with players. Again, I don't think they had 3, 4, no 5 stars, maybe
right.
3, 4 stars. Everybody else is not. So, one thing I really want to do yesterday, and I didn't get a chance, is to listen to the Paul Feinbaum show, because when Indiana gave Signetti a big contract extension, he said he didn't think it was a good thing for them to do, and that he didn't think Signetti was a good coach. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
Feinbaum, he's got a lot of crow to eat.
Feinbaum, he's 2 things. He's the world's greatest carnival barker, and he has the shortest memory in history. And that's great. It works perfectly for him, because he can stir up the circus better than just about anybody.
Mendoza was a 2-star coming out of high school,
out of Miami.
Yeah, out of Miami,
Yeah.
Columbus High. So, and then he goes to Cal, and FSU's the only one to beat him in the last year. So anyway, that's a different thing. But then he goes and plays here.
The other thing, Doc, that's getting a lot of discussion is, we have this Friday deadline, I guess, where they're talking about changes for next year's playoff, and the SEC and the Big Ten are kind of going back and forth. It appears both of them want to go to 16, but it's the manner after that's the contention. The Big Ten wants a kind of a laid-in path to 24 to maybe bring more of their teams into play. The SEC wants to lock down at 17. What are your thoughts on kind of that part? And then maybe if you want to expand on that, maybe your thoughts on just changes you would make if you were in that room.
Yeah, I really think that the SEC's got the right formula here. I don't think going above the 16 teams provides value. I mean, all you got to do is look and see what a 24-team playoff would mean. And I mean, do you really want Duke to be in the college football playoff? Sure. 7 and 5? No. Great. You played all the bad teams in your conference, and because of the uneven schedules. Heck, they lost. I mean, Duke lost to some horrible Power 5 school. I'd have to look at their schedule, but no. Look, I think. I mean, really, who were people mad about this year not getting in? I think Texas had a case to be in. Notre Dame had a case to be in, and maybe, and I think Vanderbilt had a case to be in too. Mm-hmm. So, but all you needed was 15 slots, and any school that you could make a valid case for being in was in. So if you do 16, okay, maybe one more of these little conference schools could get in, although quite frankly, I think 2 is more than enough with a 16-team field. So no, you go to 24, and then you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel for teams that really don't need to be there.
Duke lost at Connecticut. I think that's the game you were thinking about there.
Yeah.
And then the guy from Connecticut, he's moving somewhere else. So
Well, and, you know, we could certainly talk about Duke and a lawsuit going on right now. We'll get into that. But we got to head to a break here. Doc's going to hang on with us through to the next break. We're going to talk more about kind of the future of college football. And we're going to have some fun. I'm going to do my best Coach Hale impersonation. We're going to look into the way too early poll for next year and see if we like that. There's definitely going to be a talking point in there. But hang on with us, Doc. We'll come back to you after the break. Also wanted to talk about Turf Pro Pest Control, Patrick and the crew. Just because it's cold outside doesn't mean you don't need to be taking care of that lawn. In fact, you need to be on it now to make sure that you are the talk of the neighborhood for all the right reasons come spring. And that means getting those unwanted pests and insects out of your lawn. So make sure that you call Turf Pro Pest Control. And then Max Fit Sports Nutrition, Jason Kovaleski, he has the best setup in town because you can try it before you buy it. 2 great area locations, Pier Park North next to Dick's Sporting Goods there, and the Del Coronado Village there on 23rd Street. Max Fit Sports Nutrition. You want to look better? You want to feel better? Go see Jason at Max Fit. When we come back, more with Dr. Ward. You're listening to the Coach James Hale Show here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Rich Eisen Show.
We can't seem to put these things together, so let's get a totally different new voice, a totally different new situation. Or do you go back to the guy who was previously in Allen's ear, in Brian Daboll? Or is it a tough sell to the Buffalo fan base that we're going to take, a guy who was coach of the year one year, but the rest of the time couldn't get the Giants out of the cellar? Forget about the Super Bowl.
The Rich Eisen Show. Weekdays 11 to 2. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. Mostly cloudy this afternoon and evening with a wind at 9 miles per hour coming out of the southeast and the high of 63. Tonight look for clouds with a temperature near 52. Tomorrow, a high around 69 and some sun. Friday, quite warm with a high of 67 and some clouds in the early morning, but otherwise light sprinkles. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
We're proud to bring you the most popular cars in the world, like the stylish Camry and the sporty Corolla. Get award-winning style and 2.99% APR on a new Camry. Named the best new model by Kelley Blue Book. Plus, you get 90 days until you make your first payment. Curb appeal comes standard on the new Corolla. Designed to wow from the inside out. Get 2.99% APR plus 90 days until your first payment. Panama City Toyota, your Camry and Corolla headquarters.
Offer ends February 2nd. Visit PanamaCityToyota.com for details.
Are you living with chronic pain, anxiety, or sleepless nights? You don't have to just get by. You deserve to thrive. At Thrive Alternative Medicine on Panama City Beach Parkway, Dr. Laughlin and counselor Suzanne Clark provide a compassionate path to relief. From medical marijuana card certifications to professional mental health counseling, managing conditions like PTSD, chronic pain, and the complexities of cancer. Book online at thrivealternativemedicine.com. thrivealternativemedicine.com. Find the relief you deserve.
It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Bonafide and qualified.
Live and local from the J. Michael Studio.
Certified.
From the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sing it, Glenn. And welcome back to the Coach James Hale Show here. Brian Haddad sitting in, Glenn Manley, the Wildcat, and Doc Ward. Doc, before we get into this way too early poll, Florida Gators basketball, trying to make a run at a repeat, maybe won 9 of their last 10. What are your thoughts on Gators' latest run here?
Yeah, so the biggest difference between last season and this season for Florida is Florida did not play a super competitive non-conference schedule last year.
That's right.
So basically you go play Duke at Cameron Indoor, you play UConn in their backyard at Madison Square Garden, you play Arizona. I believe we played them in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And we lost these games by 4. I think the biggest loss there was, I think we lost by 4 to Arizona. Everyone made a big to-do about the fact, oh my God, the Gators are not the team they were last year. I'm like, okay, so our guards are settling in. I mean, our front court's been awesome all season from the very beginning, but the guards are new. They've got to get comfortable, and what you're seeing, because now we've won 5 straight SEC games. The last 4 we've all won by double digits, except for at Vanderbilt. And obviously Vanderbilt was got a really good offense. Not much to speak of on defense, but a really good offense. But and Ruben Chinyelu is a stinking beast. He had 21 rebounds last night in our win against LSU. I mean, I do think this is a team ready to make a deep run, and the fact that they're ranked 16th in the poll right now just shows that the people who vote in these polls don't watch a single basketball game.
No, they don't.
Agree.
They don't.
And they get ready to host Auburn this weekend there in Gainesville.
The thing, too, about the whole season is it's just practice. You just got to cram up. You got to get revved up for the SEC tournament and then the playoffs.
There you go.
Yeah, a crazy little statistic here. Ken Pomeroy, who does the Ken Pom Index, has basically the Gators favored to win every game remaining on their schedule.
Wow.
So if chalk holds, they go 15-1 in the SEC, which is even better than their record last year.
Yeah, that's amazing. Especially with how many SEC teams are ranked. So
the toughest thing to do in Florida, I think Florida's one of the few to do it besides UCLA, is to win back-to-back in basketball.
That's right. That's right.
So,
especially nowadays when you're turning over your roster so much.
Yeah, no, people don't. They don't talk about the transfer portal in basketball as much as in the money situation.
Absolutely. All right, Doc. Let's get into this. Let's have a little fun at this. I'm going to do these in groups of 5. We're going to start at the bottom here. So the way too early top 25 for next year. There's going to be a talking point in this first segment. So here we go. At number 25, Utah, who just lost their coach. Number 24, Tennessee Volunteers. Number 23, Arizona State, who was able to keep their coach but lost a lot of key players. At number 22, Penn State, who lost quite a lot. And here's the fun one, guys. At number 21, Alabama. Thank you, John. What do we think about this?
I actually think for once, Alabama's not being overrated.
Yeah.
You look at. I mean, I've talked to a lot of Alabama fans since their beatdown at the hands of Indiana, and they just don't believe in Kalen DeBoer. Ty Simpson is moving on, so who's going to be the QB? They just didn't have a lot of answers in the big games this year. I mean, they did make that 4-game run that was impressive, but now having Alabama in the same group as Penn State is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know how you have Penn State ranked, given that they lost all of their players and didn't recruit any new ones.
And didn't get any new ones. That's it.
What are you possibly basing Penn State being in the top 50 even at this point?
All right, Doc, what's about to get worse then, because at number 20, TCU, who just lost their quarterback. At number 19, Washington, whatever. Number 18, Michigan, who just went through all kinds of upheaval, but looks like they kept most of their roster. They did lose Justice Haynes. Number 17, SMU, who actually like what they did in the offseason. And number 16, Iowa. So, kind of some, extra Big Ten, whatever, but TCU and Washington be ahead of Alabama, I'm not so sure about.
Yeah, I think that group of 5 was just kind of, hey, what teams do we think might be okay, but we all know can't win a championship. Yeah.
All right, now let's get into what generally would be considered the playoff contenders here. The top 15. At number 15, LSU under Lane Kiffin, and if you believe all the reports, him leaking the NIL deals of the Ole Miss players to try and get them, so that was fun. At number 14, Louisville. That'll make Randy happy. Number 13, USC. Number 12, Oklahoma. And number 11, Doc's favorite team, BYU.
Wow.
Yeah, that's honestly not bad, except for LSU at 15. I mean, I think LSU's got a lot of talent. That they're all excited about Lane. Whether or not you like Lane Kiffin or not, he is a good coach.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd have LSU, close to like number 8 or 7.
I agree.
Like
and he's going to have a lot of that offensive staff that led Ole Miss on that run, so that'll be good.
Now, when the Alabama job comes open and he jumps ship again,
well,
we could call him Pirate because he's always jumping ships.
We'll see. He's trying to coach every team. All right, top 10. At number 10, Texas A&M. We had a good run. Actually had a good portal, too. This is the one I think might be a little overranked, and I think it depends a lot on the lawsuit. But number 9, Ole Miss. I think if Chambliss is back, I can see this a little more. But I think so much of what they did this year was kind of a magical run that's hard to recreate. But we'll get into that with Doc. Number 8, the runners-up, Miami. At number 7, the big money spenders, Texas Tech. And at number 6, the Ohio State Buckeyes, all the way down at number 6, guys.
Yeah, I think Miami there is a little high. I mean, they're losing the quarterback, which, again, even though Carson Beck throws picks, he was decent outside of when he made bad decisions. But I just heard that they're losing Malachi Toney, too, and that's a huge loss.
Wow.
Huge loss
that.
to their
Wow,
team.
yeah, that would be big.
Tony's entering the transfer portal. Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
All right, Ohio State seems a little low here, but they're going to have to redo that entire defense. But they do have a lot coming back on offense. We'll get into that another time. Let's get to the top 5 here. At number 5, Oregon. Dante Moore is coming back. They're bringing back a good bit. I see that. Number 4, Georgia. Again, another good core coming back there. At number 3, they have Notre Dame. They're losing a lot, but golly, they've got an easy schedule next year. At number 2, the Texas Longhorns. And at number 1, they've got Indiana back at number 1. They've got a good bit to replace here, but they had a pretty good portal as well. What do you think, Doc?
Well, I never have an issue with keeping the team that finished the season number 1 at number 1 the next year. That's not bad. Notre Dame is being gifted. Everyone knowing their schedule's easy, but I don't know. I'm not really feeling the love for the Golden Domers myself.
Yeah, I think Texas. I mean, I understand. Look, they started the year number 1 this year. I get the hype around them. They're another team that's got to show me, but they certainly have the talent to go.
They've picked up some players.
Yeah, they did. All right, Doc, one more time before we get out of here. We want to make sure that we don't become a skin cancer statistic. How do we go about doing that and coming out and make sure see you?
Yeah, just give us a call at 233-3376. You can see us at one of our 8 area convenient locations in Santa Rosa Beach, Watersound, Panama City Beach, Panama City, Port St. Joe, Mariana, Bonifay, or Defuniak Springs. It just takes 5 minutes to get checked head to toe to make sure your skin is healthy and cancer-free. And can't leave you guys without Go Gators.
There we go. I swear, Glenn, he mixes the 8 up on purpose just to mess with us. Glenn and I it's a terrible indictment on our character, Doc. Glenn and I get excited hoping you're going to miss one. You never do. The man is perfect.
He is.
All right, Doc, thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
All right, buddy. See ya.
All right, the great Dr. John Ward there. Absolutely.
I'm glad he's not so opinianated, you know what I'm saying? He just,
I thought he made some great points there looking at that stuff.
He gets into this stuff. Of course, I know a buddy of his that says, riding down the road and, a sports book calls him every 5 seconds. So, I mean, just saying, I'm not sure. But.
Yeah, there you go. Also want to thank some more of our great sponsors here. We just talked about Dr. John Ward, but how about Newbies? All the Newbies properties there. The Mothership, Newbies 2 on the Curve, the Brew and Booze, and then the new one there. I say new. Like I said, it's probably been open 2 years now, but the one there in St. Andrews, making it much easier for Glenn to stumble home at night.
It is.
So we thank them for that.
I like the statue they put out there of me laying out holding my beer.
I mean, the one made out of chalk.
Yeah, that's right. Looks like a crime scene.
Absolutely right. So, but thank you to all of our sponsors here who make this show possible. And when we come back on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about those number 21 Alabama Crimson Tide there. We're going to look at maybe their depth chart for the upcoming season and what we expect out of them. You're listening to the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN, Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Chris Lowe, it has been a bleak fortnight in Alabama.
They made progress, but I think the fact that they lost 2 of their last 3 games, money games that everybody remembers, is something that's not going to sit well.
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. Mostly cloudy this afternoon and evening with a wind at 9 miles per hour coming out of the southeast and a high of 63. Tonight, look for clouds with a temperature near 52. Tomorrow, a high around 69 and some sun. Friday, quite warm with a high of 67 and some clouds in the early morning, but otherwise light sprinkles. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Full residential and commercial projects from start to finish, Wheelhouse is ready to help. From the moment you have the thought to build to the moment you step through the front door of your finished project, Wheelhouse Consulting and Engineering will walk you through all of your aspirations. Engineering, site plans, live architectural design, construction, 3D rendering, permits, and more. Wheelhouse Consulting and Engineering, 850-896-6597. That's 850-896-6597. And online at wheelhousedba.com.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota. ESPN Northwest Florida.
With over 4 decades in business, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to take your collection to the next level. All new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia and supplies, new and vintage cards, and Pokemon. Buy, sell, and trade. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards inside the Stanford Station on 23rd Street next to Academy Sports. Come see the bigger store and the larger inventory or visit online, instantReplaySportsCards.com.
It's the Coach James Hale Show.
He's the sexiest man on the planet.
Live and local from the Jane Michaels Studio on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida. Filling in this morning, it's Coach Brian Haddad.
That just fires Glenn up so much.
Because he don't have his very own intro.
Well, no, here's it. I used to have.
Look, I was going to say, and it's a problem because I still view, by the way, welcome to the Coach James Hale Show, and Roll Tide. I do still view the original guts of this show as you, Coach, and Conrad.
Yeah.
Like, that's,
on
to
location.
me, that's still, the on locations were great.
Yeah.
But that's still this show. So, yes, Glenn, you need your own sound.
Well, I must have made Bone Crusher mad, but he never knows when I'm going to show up, so I understand.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
That's true. And we only get to turn those kinds of things in once every quarter or something like that to have
that's
them
all right.
custom made.
I know where he lives.
And we're not real sure you're going to be around for the next...
That's true. I'm not even supposed to buy.
Oh, it's budget. I get it.
No, but the doctor told me not to buy green bananas. I don't know what that means.
Well, by the way, it is the Alabama Update here, sponsored by Steverson Air Conditioning and Heating, number one. Make sure that you are, yeah, we need the heater now, but you need to make sure this is kind of the time to make sure you get out, have them come look at the unit here. You got to get ready for spring and summer because it is going to be a hot one. It always is down here, and you want the fine folks there at Steverson Air Conditioning to be the ones who are looking through and making sure that everything is right with your heating and AC unit. Go local, don't go national. Steverson Air Conditioning.
The good thing about that is they don't sell you something you don't need.
That's right.
I mean, they're going to tell you exactly where it goes, how it fits, and then clean up. The only thing they do on cleanup, they don't do windows. Other than that, they
and I love the story that Coach Hale tells about, he was, I want the biggest one. I'm willing to spend the most money, because the one time in his life where that was true.
They were going to have to helicopter the thing in and set it down with a Chinook or something like that. And set it in its
I
front
always
yard.
get this can be a dated reference, but I always get this visual of, it's like the Seinfeld episode when Kramer gets like the illegal Eastern European shower head that just shoots out so much water, blows him over. Like, that's what Coach wanted with the air conditioning unit. So, but yeah, Steverson Air Conditioning, they are number one, and they are the best. Alabama football, obviously, look, made it to the playoffs this year. Had a great run through there, got as high as number 4 in the polls. Did get a win on the road against Oklahoma, avenged a loss earlier in the year, but, came crashing down in the Rose Bowl defeat to Indiana. I know a lot of people aren't happy because we kind of lived very privileged lives for about 15 years during the Saban era, but not a bad season overall. Progress, I do think, from the year before.
Right.
The thing that's worrisome, I think, about Alabama going forward, worrisome for me, giddy for Glenn, is they did lose. Last year they didn't lose anybody in the portal. This year they've lost a few key players. Isaiah Horton, who had kind of cemented himself as going to be the top receiver next year, he has moved on into the portal. Ty Simpson obviously moving on to the NFL draft. And then Keon Keeley was kind of a big loss on the defensive side of the ball. So there's just, I wouldn't even call it worry. I think there's more uncertainty around the Alabama football program than there has been in a long time.
The bad thing sometimes is we have to think about this. It's not how many talented kids you bring in, it's how many can you buy. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, the Texas Techs and the Texas and Texas A&M, Ohio State, and Oregons of the world.
Yeah.
That's hard to do, and so give him a chance, but you don't want to be the guy that follows the guy, and that's a bad thing too. So
and that's true. And what's interesting is that the biggest issues most everybody saw with Alabama this year were particularly the offensive line, but somewhat the defensive line. Now, that got a little better as it went on, and most of what they brought in from the portal is that. Now, they're not huge names yet. And because a lot of linemen aren't huge names.
Right.
So we'll have to see how that pans out. But, the thing, another thing that just kind of pierced the armor, if you will, they had the kid out of NC State, the running back, which obviously we're looking for any running back we can get. And then last minute he changes his mind and he's going over to, I believe, Texas.
Right.
And it just feels like, wow, we're not one of the big guys anymore. I think it's probably a little early to feel that way, but I get it.
Right.
Well, let's look at the projected depth chart. And we're going to start at quarterback because that's probably going to be one of the most important decisions in the offseason. Ty Simpson is moving on. You have Austin Mack, really tall guy, followed Coach DeBoer and Coach Grubb from Washington to come over. Played a little bit this year. He's got some skills.
Right.
I would be okay if Austin Mack was it, but the projection is that they are going to go on and go with starter Keelan Russell, who I believe's upside is much higher.
Right.
He did play one game this year, looked great. Again, lesser competition, but going ahead with Keelan Russell. Glenn, if you're Alabama, do you go on and try and make that jump to the more talented guy, go on and get him in and have him be the guy, or do you take maybe a safer but lower ceiling bet with Austin Mack?
Well, he already knows the system. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so he's experienced with most of the people, all the people in the locker room know who he is. He knows who the coaches are. And I think you have to give him a chance, otherwise you're going to lose him.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing with Florida State with Kevin Sperry. Here's a guy that's been there, prove he can move the ball. Mm-hmm. Even though if you say it's lesser talent, all those offenses now are complicated. And so to be able to run that, I think that's important. And, I'll give you a case, FSU. We played a couple of schools that started their freshman quarterback. And they ended up, and so you live or die with that guy for a while. I would. I would see what it goes on. I would give the guy a chance.
I agree. I would
let
go
him
with
lead
Russell
the team
as
and
well.
see how he does.
Well, and the beauty is you have a very experienced guy behind him. And so, because let's face it, a lot of guys do have to go to the backup, when you have injuries and different things like that. So at running back, this can be another area of a lot of focus. Jam Miller moving on. But you do have Daniel Hill, who came on pretty good toward the end of the year last year. He made some young player mistakes, which you expect. And then at backup, probably E.J. Crowell, who they got out of high school. So another young back. The thing they weren't able to do is bring in one more good experience back. They thought they had it, and it just fell apart.
Well, the other thing, too, is you got the guys that you recruited to come in. So give them a chance. If we battled out in spring. It was a tough decision. We're going to put the guy that came in. Is that coach speak? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Give the guys a chance because you never know. Look at Indiana.
Yep.
They brought those guys in. They were a little older but how many 5 stars, 4 stars?
Yeah.
If you don't know what somebody will do unless you give them a chance.
I didn't love the running back room, but I think when you're running behind that line, I think only Barry Sanders was going forward. It just wasn't very good run blocking this year.
Right.
So, at wide receiver, again, Jeremy Bernard moving on to the pros. Isaiah Horton was probably going to be the one, and he's going to Texas A&M. But that Ryan Williams is coming back. And I know everybody likes to bang on Ryan Williams. He came out, probably had the best first 6 games a freshman's ever had in college football, lighting it up, tailed off a little bit as they started doubling him. This last year was a disaster. He dropped a lot of footballs, more than anybody in big-time college football, and he probably suffered a confidence thing. If there's one positive that can come out of that Rose Bowl game against Indiana, Ryan Williams caught a lot of balls.
Right.
And he made a commitment to Alabama in the offseason. I actually think that is a good thing. I think his talent is clearly there. I think he just maybe thought the game was too easy for him. He didn't go to work this past year.
Could have, and once they see you on film enough times, and they know what to do, and then you start pressuring because they're not throwing it to you.
That's right.
So now when they do throw it, it's a little different thing.
That's right. Latsier Brooks, who really came on toward the end of the year as a true freshman this year, he is slotted kind of as the number 2. He will benefit from Horton moving on, and he showed a lot. Noah Rogers as well, and then Rico Scott, who had originally entered the portal, decided to come back as he renegotiated his deal, I'm sure. And but Bama still has some depth at the receiver. It just would have been nice to have kept Horton.
Yeah, well, the thing to me, too, is, you're renegotiate your deals. That's just it's amazing when you think about all the people that have gone through college and played, and we didn't have a deal. The deal was you better hold on to your scholarship by playing hard. So
tight end, probably going to get the start, Caleb Edwards, who played a lot as a true freshman this year when Cuevas would get injured. So he does have some experience, which is good there. The offensive line is going to change around a good bit. Losing Formby at right tackle is a good thing for Alabama, if you ask me. Losing Proctor is a rough thing, and you don't have your anchor in Brailsford in the center. So it'll be a much revamped offensive line, but you could say after the production or lack thereof last year, that may be a good thing to have somewhat of a new offensive line. Defensively, a lot of new names up front. Again, that was an area they needed to go get in the portal, and I do think they've got some good players there. Linebackers, Yanze Pierre was one of the best players on the team down the stretch, so I love that one. I wish Keon Keeley would have stuck around, but Caleb Woodson, Reese, those guys are going to be solid. And I'll be honest with you, Alabama may bring back the best secondary in the country next year because all of those guys played good minutes, and they were part of an Alabama defense that was really good this year.
Right.
So, and pretty much all of those guys, Sab, Hubbard, Dijon Lee, Xavier Brown, those guys are all back and all projected to be starters. So Alabama looks pretty good on the back end of the defense. The front end remains to be seen, but, I think 21 maybe a little bit low, but I get the trepidation because, like I said, there's just uncertainty around this program for the first time in quite a while.
Right. And so that puts pressure on everybody.
Absolutely, it does.
Front office on down. So, and I think sometimes, I do this with Florida State and Auburn, the fans are not realistic about what goes on. You know what I'm saying?
And short for fanatic. That's right.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're in it long enough and there's coaching, there's going to be ups and downs.
That's
you
right.
just got to fight through them. What kind of character do you have? And I think sometimes the betting or the bragging rights is what gets in their way. They don't understand what it takes just to win the football game.
Yep.
And so, there's a lot goes into it, and you got to have some breaks in there, and you don't know if somebody's going to get hurt the first play, one of the games, the kickoff, one of the guys in the secondary for Indiana goes down on the kickoff.
True.
So, it's just one of those things where you got to just kind of ride it out, or you got to, be a true fan and support your team.
Yep. So. Absolutely right. Just very briefly, Alabama basketball getting a rare midweek break, and they will play Tennessee this Saturday in Tuscaloosa at Coleman Coliseum, weather permitting. I guess you got to look at this. But anyway, but want to thank Steverson Air Conditioning for sponsoring the Alabama update. We actually got it in today, John.
Very good.
Yeah, it was like Jim Barant's favorite Alabama update yesterday. We didn't say one word about Alabama. A lot of people love that one, but yeah, absolutely love the fact that we got to get that in, and love the fact that Steverson Air Conditioning sponsors that every single day here on the Coach James Hale Show. Also got to thank J. Michael's Restaurant. Again, it's Spaghetti Wednesday. It's going to be packed out there today. Make sure you get there right at 11 and enjoy some of that great, once a week, J. Michael's world-famous spaghetti.
Coach just texted me. He's got a new idea for the album. He's practicing his yodeling up in the mountains. So he wants to get that on and get ready.
Well, it's like I told him, yodeling's fine, but if he hears banjos, you better run. And, John.
Yes, sir.
We're up in Lynn Haven.
Yep.
We got some dispensable income.
Yep.
We love nice, shiny, bright things. Where are we going?
You're going to go to David Adamson Designer Jewelry. I got to tell you, they do a free jewelry cleaning and free jewelry inspection, and thank goodness for that, because it just saved me $1,000. Just taking my wife's wedding ring and engagement ring, which I had them meld together to make one ring. I had it up there and had it cleaned and had it inspected. Lo and behold, they put it under a microscope and a diamond was very loose. So that saved me $1,000. They do that for free at David Adamson Designer Jewelry, 830 Highway 77 in Lynn Haven.
And they can create a beautiful piece for you there,
piece
Glenn.
that Glenn has for his wife is absolutely magnificent.
Right.
One of a kind.
David Adamson. All right, when we come back, we're going to do quick hitters on Auburn, and then we're going to do a little more on FSU as this show rolls on into mediocrity. You're listening to the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
How about falling down into it?
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. The Rams prove once again, regardless of weather, this warm weather indoor football team goes to Chicago. Folks, they didn't have a dropped pass, and that's why they beat the Bears. This LA team played more efficiently and played cleaner.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Weekdays at 1.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. Mostly cloudy this afternoon and evening with a wind at 9 miles per hour coming out of the southeast and a high of 63. Tonight, look for clouds with a temperature near 52. Tomorrow, a high around 69 and some sun. Friday, quite warm with a high of 67 and some clouds in the early morning, but otherwise light sprinkles. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Time to live life grand at the new Point Grand Panama City apartment home. Now leasing spacious 2-bedroom apartments at Point Grand featuring high-end interior and modern amenities like a relaxing pool, 24-hour gym, and on-site pet spa. Pet friendly at Point Grand. No breed restrictions, no weight restrictions. Come on over and tour the brand new Point Grand and bring your buddy. 723 West 19th Street, Panama City. Pop in now. 723 West 19th Street.
And here we go.
The #1 SEC call-in show is now twice as big. The Paul Feinbaum Show. Weekday evenings 6 to 10. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Whoa! Eagle! Hey! Auburn Update brought to you here on the Coach James Hale Show by Beef O'Brady's in Lynn Haven. If we're up there getting jewelry at David Adamson, we got to swing over and see Pat Perno and the crew there at Beef O'Brady's in Lynn Haven. Steal Big John's onion rings.
Oh, man, I love them onion rings.
I know it.
Lots of parking, no traffic, great onion rings, and you get a smile. Absolutely.
And you got sports
free
on the tube every single day.
day.
Love Beef O'Brady's there in Lynn Haven. Very quickly, Auburn gets a win on the road last night, beating the Ole Miss Rebels 78-66. Tight game, 1-point game at the half. Auburn pulls away late. Nearly had all 5 starters in double digits. 4 of them got there, and then Freeman ended up with 9 points. So really, really good job there by Auburn. They didn't go very deep onto the bench, but their starters got it done. Auburn now moves to 12-7 on the year and 3-3 in the conference. And as we said, they have a big road trip to Gainesville this Saturday in SEC basketball. Glenn, let's shoot on over to Tallahassee and let's talk about what's going on with them Seminoles.
Well, we needed a drum roll for this one, Wildcat. It was the FSU men's basketball team, 65.
Yes.
Miami, 63.
Yay! Yeah, we are off the schneid.
There we go. So that makes FSU 8-11 and 1-5 in ACC. Miami's 15-4, 4-2 in the ACC, but FSU leads the series 59-37, and we won the last 5, now the last 6, but that's 8 straight games we won in Coral Gables.
Hey,
so,
wow, there we go.
And in baseball, baseball season's getting revved up and everything, and so there's 3 questions they really kind of it's going to define the FSU baseball team this year. We know they had a great run last year. One of the questions is who's going to replace Lodish and Farrott in the middle, the shortstop, second baseman combo, and which arms are going to separate from the group. He's got 10 pitchers he wants to go extended innings with, so we'll see who shows up for that. And then also, can the elite guys we have, can they finally turn it into execution? Now, one of the great players now was a freshman last year, Miles Bailey, the first baseman, so he's already been picked to be All-ACC, and he's kind of on the watch list for All-American, so congratulations to him. And now the football team, we actually won the retention core or the battle. Doesn't seem like it, but we really did. And the thing is, we kept people like Deuce Robinson, who comes in. Also, we kept the defensive line twins, the Sir twins. Also, we have the cornerback Jabral Rawls, who was one of the best. And we actually kept Kevin Sperry, the backup quarterback, thank goodness. And then they had a little survey yesterday. If you get a chance to get onto this website, it's called the Chief Brief. They have a rundown of all the sports, and they had a little survey yesterday, and it wanted to know who they thought the starting quarterback should be, and 58% of people said Kevin Sperry. So hopefully, Malzahn, you guys are listening out there. And then we kept the running back, Osman Kromah, defensive lineman. This is a big one. Kevin Wynn came back. Also, wide receiver, the sprinter. I think the track team had something to do with that. Micah Danzy, and then also safety Ashland Barker. So that was good.
Very good.
Some of the guys we did lose that we really wanted to keep. Of course, we start off with Randy Pittman.
Yeah, I would love for him to stay.
And they kind of walked by choice. It wasn't anything we said to him. So, but he's going to SMU, and he said that's the best thing for him and his family.
I think that offensive system, he's trying to maybe get drafted. I can, you hate it, but I can understand it, I guess.
And then wide receiver, LaWayne McCoy, he's going to Louisville. And this is one that gets me. The linebacker, safety kind of guy, Earl Little Jr. is going to Ohio State. So, anyway. And then the little-known guy that I hadn't seen play very much was Shamar Arno. He is going to Auburn, so he was the cornerback. So those are the guys I really didn't see much of them. Other than Randy and Little, and but those are the things that are going on, and tennis teams playing well. Men's soccer starts, and we had the outstanding girls soccer player. She got drafted by one of the
NWSL. Yeah.
So congratulations to them, and then, of course, it'll be track seasons going on, indoor track, and then we'll start baseball and outdoor track, and I guess
the softball ladies will be denting cars in that parking lot. Everything. So when we used to go over and do swim meets over there, we used that lot. And, I'd get out of the car and boom, and softball fly right past me. I'm like, good Lord.
Yeah, they're going to tell you something. They'll be really good. So, but we're looking forward to that, too.
Yeah. So, absolutely. Yeah. So one of the interesting things, and we put too much credit, too much blame, too much everything on quarterback, but it is the most important position.
Yeah.
And Florida State, it's such an interesting dynamic now. So you have Sperry coming back. So he understands the system really well. Obviously, he's been there. You go out, you get Ashton Daniels, who probably has the biggest pedigree. He comes from a big school like Auburn. He played fairly well, other than the Kentucky game there for Auburn. But then you go out and you bring in the top junior college quarterback who had a lot of success and a lot of experience there. And the thing that's so interesting to me is normally you'd say, great, we got 3 guys who can go battle it out. Competition will harden all of them. They'll all be better, and the best one will win out. But what you have to consider now, Glenn, is the contracts you do with these guys. And so thinking about it that way, does Ashton Daniels have a huge leg up in the deal? As you would probably figure he has the biggest contract of the 3 of them.
That's true. Is that going to be? Is that the thing that makes them play first?
Yeah,
I see. That's hard to, So they kept saying they have a lot of confidence, but I would have played. Now, of course, I don't get paid all the money to do it, but I would have played Sperry a little more, especially when Castellanos was hurt.
And it's not the concept of the guy coming in thinking they're the one isn't new. I remember very famously. Alabama, I want to say it was in, what year would that have been, 2016 or 17? No, I think it was 17. 16 is when they started with FSU, I think. But they played USC in one of those kickoff games. And they had this highly heralded quarterback. I think it was Blake Barnett was his name. And everybody was looking forward to this guy starting. And he started the first half because he was kind of the heir apparent. I think he was a sophomore, maybe redshirt sophomore, whatever. And he was the guy. He was going to be the guy because he put in the year before. He highly recruited. This is the guy we have to go with. Saban did what a lot of coaches I don't think would have done. Halftime, first game of the year. Sits him. You know who he goes to? Freshman. True freshman, Jalen Hurts. And never looked back. Barnett transferred out that year. I think he went to Arizona State and played some. But, so the notion of having the guy who's kind of got the job earmarked isn't really new, but now it makes it that much worse when there may be contractual issues. And now you've got a really upside-down NIL spend
Right.
Going out there on a guy who may not be your starter. It's got to be hell on these coaches, doesn't it?
It is. It's a hard decision to make. They don't get enough credit for what they try to do. It's got to be, everybody sees the W's and the L's.
Sure.
And so, now granted, I'd rather have an ugly win than a pretty loss.
No doubt.
But, it's still, it's a lot of things. And people, the sponsors and fan base, they all want wins.
Right.
And so, but when two teams play, now there's not going to be any ties.
Yeah.
So hopefully.
Well, and apparently all three quarterbacks can kind of fit the system Gus likes to run fairly well, which is good. But just because you have natural ability fits for that doesn't mean you take to the system very well. That's
right.
why Sperry being in it, you would think has a bit of a leg up, but
I take issue with something you said earlier, and I'll
Just
never
one
do this
thing?
again.
All right.
This is the only thing ever.
I don't even know what I say. I just say
you
it.
You said that the quarterback is the most important position on the team. It's not the quarterback. He is the anchor. He is the anchor. Period. Not the most important, because if you don't have a line, you don't have a receiver, you might as well not have a quarterback. He's an anchor for sure, but not the most important. I don't think that it's a team sport, so I'd like to kind of get away from that. Everybody's talking about quarterback. Well, that's all great, but we've seen great quarterbacks get the snot smacked out of them because they don't have a great offensive line.
I think the reason I say that is because they're the ones who distribute the ball.
And they're the ones that get all the blame.
But you're right. I guess theoretically you could say the center is the most important because they're the one who have the ball first.
They touch the ball more than anybody.
And in some games, the kicker.
That's true.
100% true. So anyway, but all right, sounds very good there. We're hoping for big things out of FSU.
I'm still going to be a fan. I don't care.
100%.
I was a fan when they had Daryl Mudra. Go figure that. So.
I've talked about it all week. What I want to see, it's the one thing I really, and I know a lot of people don't like Norv, but I do. The one thing I don't like is when they face adversity, he kind of looks lost, and the team never seems to recover. I've seen it too many times. And, what I want to see is when they face adversity, them get through it and respond, because that'll be growth. And that's what I'm hoping to see out of FSU. I want to thank Newbies for their sponsorship of the FSU Update, and again, Beef O'Brady's for their sponsorship of the Auburn Update. When we get back, we're going to talk to the great Mark McLeod, talk a little Gators. But before we do that, play that song, John.
Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
The Buffalo Bills have fired head coach Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott did an awesome job in Buffalo, but not good enough. And we have been saying this all year. Sean McDermott should be the coach of an NFL team next year. It should just not be the Buffalo Bills. They have to get someone to win now.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle. Weekdays 5 to 7 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Contractors, when your job site needs materials fast, trust the local team that delivers. Mid-South Lumber Company brings you reliable job site delivery, in-house credit, and competitive pricing on everything from lumber to doors, windows, and more. Plus, their unmatched customer service has your back through every step of the build, making ordering, delivering, and the whole process easier for you. Support local. Build with Mid-South Lumber Company. Mid-South Lumber in Panama City on 11th Street or on Highway 231 in Youngstown.
Get ready to connect. ESPN Northwest Florida. Proud to welcome and feature the newest additions to our Panama City Beach Chamber family.
Welcome to the Beach Chamber, Black Razor Construction, Connect Wi-Fi, Buchanan and Harper, Emerald Beach Rentals, and Gulf Coast Bank and Trust Company.
Step in, grow, and connect with a community that celebrates your achievements.
Congratulations from ESPN Northwest Florida.
And the Panama City Beach Chamber of Commerce, reaching Bay County and beyond.
Signworks, a business serving businesses since 1985. Everything from signs and banners, vehicles and boats, magnetic and real estate signs, contractor signs, and much more. Signworks can do large format, full color printing too. Signworks, a real professional in the business world. Call Signworks at 785-8899. Signworks, 850-785-8899.
He doesn't always go the extra mile. But when he does, it's because he missed the exit. It's the Coach James Hale Show. Live and local inside the J. Michaels Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
When you got 90,000 people all chomping at the same time.
It's the Florida Gator Update with guest Mark McLeod. Insider information you can't get anywhere else. Now back to the Coach James Hale Show. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Go Gators! I love Wednesdays.
Deja vu, wasn't it?
Because we get to talk a lot of Florida Gators. We had Doc Ward on earlier, and now we got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mark McLeod. Mark, substitute teacher's in today. No rules. We can have us some fun. How you doing?
Hey, guys. Good to be on with you. Yeah, where is Coach James?
He's partying in the mountains with Dolly Parton.
Yes, yeah. He's up there celebrating Dolly's birthday.
I thought he might be up there with his little Big Ten buddies who are doing coney dogs and some brats and some beer cheese, and, because he's such a Big Ten guy now.
Oh, my God. I was going to say, yeah, he jumped off that bandwagon quick in the SEC. So, I mean, Mark, we've got a lot of stuff, Gators, to talk about, certainly, but and we'll actually talk some basketball today now that Hale's not here, but I did want to start your thoughts on, I thought we had a great college football playoff other than one or two stinker games, but really great national championship game. What were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I'm still not a 16-team guy. I'm not even a 12-team guy. I think 4 is enough. 8 typically, okay, 8 maybe, but I thought it was great. I thought the national championship game one of the most entertaining games we've had in many years, and man, you can't say enough about Indiana and what he's done. I mean, you go back to 1980, I was looking at it, 33 losing seasons for Indiana going back to 1980. You got to be kidding me. And then to do what they've done the last 2 years, where he's 27-2, I think it is.
It's amazing.
Just fantastic job coaching that team, and that team listens to their coaches. And you guys know as coaches, and there are a lot of people out there driving around or sitting in the office that they know too. If they think back on their high school days or middle school days or youth league days, some of them that played college ball, a big part of the problem was you had a breakdown offensively, defensively on a certain play or several plays where it was one guy that didn't do what he was supposed to do, 2 guys that didn't do what they're supposed to do, but the coaches had it drawn up right, so. And that's Signetti in Indiana. These guys are a machine.
Yeah.
They are an absolute machine. And offensively, defensively, and we talk about this all the time. I know Coach Manley and I have talked about it many times through the years, text messaging back and forth. The importance of special teams.
Yes.
And you look at what Indiana was able to do in that game, Brian.
Yep.
It was beautiful.
Yep, absolutely right. And, it was funny. I led the show yesterday with we're used to maybe calling an Indiana national championship in March. It feels really awkward calling one in January, but congrats to them. They earned it. I mean, that was a fun team to get behind and a fun team to watch. And nothing against Miami. They had a great run, too, and they were playing some excellent football. But Indiana, you just have to play pretty much flawless football to beat them. They give you nothing. So
yeah, exactly. And you're in South Florida. Admittedly, that you didn't have a stadium full of Miami fans. If you're not playing in a high school stadium, you're never going to have a stadium full of Miami fans.
Sure,
but it was still good. It was a great environment, and I understand some people who were down there that I texted back and forth with that had a terrific time. They said the weather was pretty good overall. There was a chance of rain there, but they said that the atmosphere was really exciting, and it was the thing that I heard was that, guys, it was like these Indiana fans were like kids at their they're turning 5 years old party. I mean, they said it was like they were on a high that you've never seen before, and they said they just enjoyed watching them, and watching them have a good time and celebrate.
To be honest, it's a scenario that we have not seen really in a very long time, where a team like that has been for lack of a better term, a perennial doormat, has this run, and it's not just 1 year. Obviously, they were very good last year as well, but has this run. I mean, it's something we don't see because, we may see like Miami. Okay, it's been 20 years since we've won one. Yeah, there's a lot of excitement around that, but we have never seen this, and we may never see this again level of excitement.
Right. That's
it was very unique.
They all showed up because you're not sure yet.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
Yeah, that's why when you get a Bowden or a Saban or a Spurrier or a Dye, even I used to say on radio all the time to everybody when Urban was at Florida, guys, don't take this for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take this for granted. These SEC 2 national championships, it's not going to be this way all the time. And you get some folks that just we're the University of Florida. We have all this money. We have the recruiting base. And you're like, well, it's not always going to be that way. And Florida and Florida State and Miami fans have found that out.
Right.
Well, speaking of that, looking at and again, the silly season of the portal and everything, but a lot of players in and out of Florida, as you would expect when there's a coaching change and all like that. First question, Mark, kind of your overall thoughts now that the portal is somewhat closed of players coming in and who might be the most impactful. And then to piggyback on that, now that the national championship game's over, we've heard a few more new names enter the portal. Some might. Is Florida done, or do you think there's one or two more they might look at?
Well, I think they really would like to add a couple more.
Okay.
But they did. They've been working, as I talked to you guys last week, and you guys remember, back in the summer, or back even last spring, I was not happy with Napier's work in the transfer portal at defensive tackle, and I thought they needed an elite edge rusher, and they didn't get either. And I thought that's not good because, and then during the August practice sessions, we're hearing about Jaden Woods. Jaden Woods is a freshman. You're not going to get an All-American season out of the kid, but Florida did have some work to do at D tackle. They lost a guy at a Baylor that they really wanted, ended up going elsewhere, which that would have given them 2 Baylor D tackles because they got Kalu, DK Kalu from Baylor, but ended up with Mason Clinton from Southern Miss, so Coach Hale should be thrilled with that. He's at Florida now. Of course, they got the big kid from Jacksonville State. So they did do some work at defensive tackle where they shored up some definite needs there, guys, that they had. And really, I think the story of Florida in the portal, you got your quarterback, Aaron Philo from Georgia Tech. Everybody's excited about that. You really added to the running back room with Evan Pryor and London Montgomery coming in. That's going to be big for Florida because they had a couple losses. And then certainly with Jaden Ball, that's big. Florida's running back room is going to be one of the best in the country. And at wide receiver, you get Eric Singleton, you get Bailey Stockton, you get Jaden Lloyd at Oklahoma State. So Micah Mays from Wake Forest. So I think they did really well there. And then they added some key pieces to the offensive line because that's where Florida really suffered this year. Is the offensive line play, despite having 4 returning starters, was not what it should have been, as we all know. And then, of course, you had Billy Napier going through a few games where he's giving Jaden Ball 13 touches a game, and you're shaking your head going, what are you doing,
Right.
But I think overall Florida did a really nice job. It's not an elite job, but I think they did a really nice job in the portal.
Looking ahead to next year, obviously going out and getting Philo was a big thing, but you've got what Trammell, it was Trammell Jones. I'm blanking.
Trammell Jones is back.
Obviously he played a little bit there toward the end of the year. Last year we had the certainty. We knew, even though he was a little hurt, it's Lagway's thing. Do you think they're going to go Philo? Do you think they're going to go Trammell Jones? I mean, which way do you think they're looking to start the season?
I think it'll be Philo, but it's going to be interesting, Brian, because that's a great question. It really is, because Tramel Jones, from what I was hearing from my guy who was watching a little bit of practice, he said, he told me point blank, he said, I'm telling you, because he told me right at the beginning of the season, this kid's pretty good.
Yeah.
He said, but he's not ready yet. And then as we got into the season, I talked to him. I said, Lagley's just struggling. You've got Harrison Bailey on the roster. They don't seem to want to use him. Aiden Warner, they don't want to go there.
Yeah.
And he said, Tramel Jones is a guy that's been the most impressive. He goes, and I can't give you a reason why he's not getting some reps. And that was it. I mean, they thought, give this guy a series or two a game, and by, maybe game 8, game 9, week 10, maybe this kid has improved a bit. So I think that's going to be a big question. But you also have Will Griffin, one of the top players in the state of Florida, down in Tampa, Jesuit. He's coming up as freshman year. I don't expect him to play, but again, that helps the quarterback room overall. So the quarterback room, I think, will be pretty good for Florida. It certainly looks pretty good. But I talked about the running back room, the wide receiver room. But I think the big key is going to be really getting and rebuilding that offensive line, and then what can Florida do on the defensive line when you lose guys like Caleb Banks and some of the other guys that they lost on the Michael Burrow on the defensive line that they've had to replace.
It's not to say there weren't any, because there are a couple there, and it's always such a touchy thing when you're talking about a coach coming in. Obviously, Cignetti took a lot of James Madison guys to Indiana, and you can do that, I think, when you're going to Indiana, whereas if he'd gone to Ohio State, there may have been why are we bringing James Madison players in? I'm sure there's a little of that with Tulane and Florida, but, we are talking about a Tulane team that's been pretty competitive and was in the playoff this year. Are you a little surprised there maybe weren't more Tulane guys that Summerall brought with him, or do you think that was about par for the course?
I think it was par for the course. I mean, they got 2 special teams guys. They got a place kicker and a punter from Tulane. They added a couple long snappers. They needed to do that. They got the kid from Washington who's really good, and they got a kid from Louisiana. But I thought the Georgia Tech kids were very interesting, Brian, because not only did you see them bring in 3 or 4 Georgia Tech assistant coaches. One of them was a legitimate assistant coach who's now going to be a support staff guy, and then the other guys are all support staff guys. But you saw several players from Georgia Tech come over, and I think Buster Faulkner convinced John Summerall and said, "Look, let me tell you, not only they don't only have Aaron Philo, but this Bailey Stockton kid, he is a possession receiver. He is wiggly. He really has a good the ability to cut and get open. He can separate." And then, of course, they bring in Luke Harpering, the tight end. They bring in Harrison Moore, the center, who was a starter, maybe a center for Florida. He was a guard last year at Georgia Tech. Bounced around a little bit, but I think I really thought maybe we'd get 2 guys from Georgia Tech, but then you look at it and you get 3 or 4.
Absolutely. Mark, we got to hit to a break. We're going to hold you over and get over to the hard court there, as the Gators have been on a bit of a tear there. But so hang on with us there. And thanks to all of our sponsors here on the show. We've talked about so many of them during the day, but wanted to give just, another quick shout out to TK Vandy Roofing and Contracting there with Kyle Vandergriff. I think Kyle will be in here with us on Friday. Steverson Air Conditioning, of course. Max Fit Sports Nutrition. Jason Kovaleski there. Dak Cajun Place, Steve's Bike Shop there on 23rd Street. Go out and see Steve. And then, of course, the great newbies and all that they do for us here. When we get back, more with Mark McLeod, more Gator basketball coming up here. You're listening to the Coach James Hale Show, ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Sports Blitz.
Coach Tommy Bowden here with us. Do you think Miami has a chance? A lot of these Miami fans, though, around here are thinking that the upset is going to happen.
It's possible, but, they smoke a lot of marijuana down there.
The Sports Blitz.
Live and local, weekdays, 4 to 6.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Wednesday. Mostly cloudy this afternoon and evening with a wind at 9 miles per hour coming out of the southeast and the high of 63. Tonight, look for clouds with a temperature near 52. Tomorrow, a high around 69 and some sun. Friday, quite warm with a high of 67 and some clouds in the early morning, but otherwise light sprinkles. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 4 decades in business, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to take your collection to the next level. All new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia and supplies, new and vintage cards and Pokemon. Buy, sell, and trade. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards inside the Stanford Station on 23rd Street next to Academy Sports. Come see the bigger store and the larger inventory or visit online, instantReplaySportsCards.com.
This is Patrick with Turf Pro Pest Control. Do you want a great-looking lawn? Call Turf Pro. We will come out to your property and make a customized plan for your lawn. Then we will do the most important part, execute that plan. Turf Pro is a locally owned and operated company. We take pride in making your lawn beautiful. Call Turf Pro. You will love your lawn. The blue and yellow trucks make your lawn green. Find us on Facebook at Turf Pro PC.
Better buckle up, Buttercup. There are no participation trophies here, just pure sports. The Coach James Hale Show live from the Jane Michaels Studios.
Gen Z snowflakes.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Say snowflakes.
Welcome back to the Coach James Hale Show here on a Wicked Wednesday. Glenn joining me, Wildcat joining me, and of course, going to get back onto the phone line with Mr. Gator himself, Mark McLeod. Mark, outside of catching you here every single Wednesday with me and Glenn, how can people listen to you?
At McLeod Live, McLeod Live. I don't have a new contract yet, and we'll see what happens there. So,
but you're getting the portal.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mark's entering the portal. We got it.
Yeah. I don't think I'd be worth much. Maybe $5 here or there. A Sonic dog or something like that.
Oh, you're getting a pay raise.
Yeah, all right, there you go.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
But I am going to go on a ESPN show. I heard you guys talking a little earlier, and I know Coach said talk about quarterback play in the SEC was. And I have a different take on that. I have a totally different take. I'll talk about on ESPN up in the Huntsville area today. Me and some of the radio guys, we've been texting back and forth.
Excellent.
We have a group text that we've had for years, and we were going back and forth. But I have a totally different take on the quarterback, so we're going to talk about that with them here this afternoon.
Make sure and check that out, as Glenn and I say in Huntsville.
Huntsville.
So very good. I like the crew up there, too. I've been up there. I don't do any radio up there, but I go up there a lot for my other job, and I like the crew up there. They do a good job. Let's get over to the hard court, Mark. Gators, they played that tough schedule this year early on, which was good, kind of sharpened, the group, especially with kind of a newer backcourt. But Florida been on a little roll here. 9 of their last 10, only the loss to Missouri in that run, and then a big double-digit win last night at home over LSU, who's been playing. They had kind of a good early run. They haven't played as well in the conference, but anytime you get a double-digit conference win, it's big. Talk a little bit about the Gators and this run that they're on. Yeah, and I'm hoping Coach Hale's busy right now, but it's not a great year for SEC basketball, as we know. Yeah. I didn't want him to hear that. But, yeah, you're right. Florida's won 9 of their last 10. They beat Georgia, 18th ranked at the time. They beat 21 Tennessee. I think they were 21-22 at the time. And then, of course, the big win over Vanderbilt. That was a really great game up in Nashville. And, of course, that's a difficult place to play. But they got it done. But, Ruben Chinilu, good gracious, he's been an absolute monster. Yeah. LSU, last night he had 15 points, 21 rebounds. Against Vanderbilt, he had 20 points and 10 rebounds, which included a 16-point second half, guys. And then, of course, Oklahoma, 19 points, 12 rebounds in that game. He SEC Player of the Week last week, and he made a good impression last night to get it again. And, of course, you got Auburn coming up
on Saturday. That'll be an ESPN game in Gainesville. South Carolina on the road, I think it's next Tuesday. And then, of course, a big game against Alabama, which is weird. It's a Sunday game coming up in a week. So that's going to be strange. But I think the story for Florida, Brian, coaches have been they've improved. They're not turning the ball over the way they were earlier in the season. That was just ridiculous, the number of turnovers. And I think they're taking care of the basketball, doing a much better job. Of course, you got Chinny and company, Condon, those guys taking care of the glass. And the backcourt, you've seen Boogie Floyd a little bit, taking care of Boogie's taking care of Boogie's land, taking care of the not trying to shoot threes left and right. He's really backed off that a little bit. I guess the conversation with the coaches have been, pick your shot, take your shot, find your shot.
Yeah.
And he only took a couple last night, but he's done what he can do, and that is drive to the basket. He can start the drive, stop, and pop a little short jumper. That's his game.
Yeah.
And until he can develop more of a 3-point shot, and Lee and company in the backcourt, Clavzar, they've done a nice job. Or getting, I should say, let me just say, they're getting better at picking and knocking down some threes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the thing. I mean, we figured the front court would be pretty good coming in this year. It would take the back court a little time to develop, and that seems to be what's happening. You've said something earlier there that I really want to hit on because I hadn't considered it as much as probably I should have. But if we look at the football season this year, everybody says the SEC was down. Yeah, I mean, down from what it was. I think maybe Georgia, but outside of that, there wasn't a lot of there weren't Tier 1 teams. Ole Miss got on a run, but there was a lot of Tier 2 teams. And I kind of, is that the same thing you think is going on in basketball? We don't have that kind of Tier 1, but there's 6 or 7 Tier 2 kind of teams there.
I think so. Yeah, look, the Big Ten, as I made the argument with Coach Hale a couple weeks ago, look, they're top-heavy.
Yeah.
In football. They were top, and you have 3 of the top 5 teams in the country. That's a fabulous year. Anybody would take that. The SEC would be celebrating 3 in the top 5. But how many other teams were in the top 15 from the Big Ten in football?
Right.
None. Yeah. The SEC had 7 of the top 15 teams in college football. So that was my point to him, that I think overall, top to bottom, the SEC was better. Not dominant like it used to be. It's not. Those days are done, I think.
Yeah.
But
if you got the money, they're done. Yeah.
Great point, Coach. Great point. Yeah, and follow the money.
That's right. That's right. Other thing, too, Dr. Ward brought this up about the non-conference games y'all have played. You've gone out and got a stronger non-conference, and so maybe the record doesn't look like it should be, but the competition has made you better.
Yeah, and, of course, you've seen now that the minute they announced the 9-game schedule, you saw teams, okay, we're going to cancel this series against Southern Cal. We're canceling this series against Notre Dame. And they said, because it's twofold. Number one, first and foremost, they looked at the body of work by the College Football Playoff Committee, and they said, these guys aren't following what they said they were going to do. Strength of schedule isn't the number one thing. It's not. It's so we could get all into that again. But yeah, you're right. And that coupled with, again, they're like, okay, if we can just win games in the non-conference the way we used to and play a 9-game conference schedule to still get in the playoffs, that's fine by us. We don't need to get beat up anymore.
And in basketball season, it's really practice until the SEC tournament and the playoffs. Sure. I mean, you can rank them however you want, but if you win the SEC or you come in first or second in the SEC, you're in the playoffs. Or, top 5. Yep. And so that's where you have to excel. And then, so like I said, it's practice. It's practice. It's an expensive practice, but it's practice.
It is. And Brian's right. I mean, I think you're seeing a lot of Tier 2 teams. Alabama's not who they were. Kentucky's not who they were. Who have they been in the past? Let's put it that way. There have been some changes, some coaching changes at Auburn and other places. So Auburn's not who they are. So, I think there's been some issues there, but I think Florida right now, and just as Brian said, I know we talked about it a few weeks ago briefly, Florida was a team that when you looked at the front court, outstanding talent, they were going to be really dominant. But when you looked at the back court, a lot of new faces there, and there's a lot of work to be done, and I think you can see those guys finally developing in terms of taking care of the basketball, and three-point shooting has gotten a little better, but there's a lot of work to be done there.
Well, Mark, as always, love talking with you. It's always better when Florida's playing well and something, too. So basketball's going great. We love that. But always love talking with you. And make sure you check out Mark with that Huntsville group. That'll be fun. And we'll talk to you next week, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Always good to be on with you.
Alrighty.
I don't have to drink when we talk good about Florida.
Glenn, thank you so much, as always. Had a great time. Wildcat, thank you, sir. Make sure you check out Paul this afternoon, and we'll be back tomorrow. We're out.
ESPN Northwest Florida presents the most college basketball.
Three-pointer, push it in. College basketball is back.